Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV 24/7. I'm Rishika Barua. Top focus story continues to remain the political developments in Uttar Pradesh. Yogi Adityanath was sworn in as the Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister for a second time, the first Chief Minister to be sworn in for a second term in 37 years. Brajesh Pathak and KP Maurya were sworn in as his deputies. Just how significant is this new list of ministers? Who are the big names in? Who are the big names out? We have Lok Bhawan joining us with all the very latest. Alok, first up, I want to ask you about the latest news that you're giving us, which is the fact that Yogi Adityanath, in fact, is scheduled to meet with all of these new ministers who've been sworn in just a short while ago. And that meeting was supposed to have begun at 7. Do you have any more information on that?
Well, I think it will begin in a while. I suspect it may be an informal meeting because portfolios have not yet been allocated. They're going to be allocated either late night or maybe tomorrow or in a day or two. So a formal cabinet meeting will also take place soon. But this may be a meeting of Yogi Adityanath with his newly sworn in ministers, and that's scheduled at the Lok Bhawan in a while. Whether it begins right now in 15-20 minutes, that remains to be seen, but I'm sure it will begin. And Yogi Adityanath will meet with his newly inducted ministers. Quite a ceremony here at the Atal Bihari Vajpayee Stadium where I am right now. Went on for close to 1.5 hours. The Prime Minister, BJP Chief Ministers in attendance. Quite a grand affair, Rishika.
Absolutely. And, the other big story here, of course, is the fact that the two deputy chief ministers, a lot of speculation, Alok, over the last couple of days on what's really going to happen there. What are we to make of the fact that KP Maurya continues to retain his post as deputy despite the fact that he lost his own seat, and Brajesh Pathak there being promoted from Law Minister?
Well, I think the one thing that we can definitely infer from this is that this cabinet has a stamp as much as of Mr. Adityanath, the Chief Minister, as it has of the Delhi leadership, including Mr. Amit Shah and Mr. Narendra Modi, because if you look at the composition of the cabinet, you have two deputy chief ministers now. One of them, Keshav Maurya, who doesn't really, or at least there was speculation that he doesn't really share a very great vibe, so to say, with the chief minister, Mr. Adityanath, and yet he gets to retain his deputy chief ministership despite the fact that he lost the elections from Sirathu, near Prayagraj. Brajesh Pathak is a Brahmin leader, so was Dinesh Sharma, the outgoing chief minister. Brajesh Pathak has won 2 consecutive MLA elections for the BJP from Lucknow from different seats. There were those who were saying that he this time escaped from the contest on his original seat because he was unsure of victory there and went to a safe seat. Nevertheless, he is a Brahmin leader with a lot of heft. He used to be with the Bahujan Samaj Party, someone known to be very close to Mayawati, the BSP Supremo. Then he switched sides. And he was the law minister in the earlier cabinet. Now he is deputy chief minister. So a definite markup for him. Dinesh Sharma doesn't get space here, but he is somebody who's been with the BJP for a long time. So one waits to see what kind of role he gets in the new system, maybe within the party.
All right. Also, Alok, big names that were dropped from this cabinet as well. Can you tell us a little more about who are the big names, who were dropped, and what's the story behind that?
Well, I think many ministers have been dropped. I think about 15, someone was saying 22. So, I mean, a large number of ministers have been dropped. Off the cuff, I can think of Shrikant Sharma, Siddharth Singh, Mahendra Singh. All of these were ministers who held high-profile portfolios in the last Yogi 1.0 cabinet. In fact, Shrikant and Siddharth Singh were the spokespersons of the Uttar Pradesh government, the officially appointed spokespersons, and both are now out of the cabinet. Though Shrikant Sharma, I have to point out, was the power minister, also won with a huge margin from his seat in the Mathura district. So one wonders whether there will be some kind of a role in the organization for him. Siddharth Singh had started with a bang, so to say, in Yogi 1.0, then was kind of downgraded, demoted within the cabinet, and now he's out of the cabinet. So what the future holds for him, he's of course an MLA, that remains to be seen. Mahendra Singh was the Jal Shakti minister, I think, so he's also not found a place in this cabinet. Some people lost and they have not been repeated. For instance, Suresh Rana used to be the cane minister, and cane is a big issue in Uttar Pradesh, particularly in the western part of the state. And Suresh Rana was somebody who used to say that, look, we are the ones responsible for paying cane dues on time, etc. He lost. He's not found a place in the cabinet. I mean, there are others who've lost and come in, like Keshav Maurya, but not Mr. Rana. So those are the names that I can think of off the cuff. Mohsin Raza, I think that's one more name that I can think of. The lone Muslim minister in the last cabinet. This time around, he's not found a place. A new gentleman has been made a minister of state. So that's the only Muslim representation in the cabinet. So all of these omissions also something that are very interesting.
Right. Alok, stay on with us. Let's also quickly take a look at the reactions, the political reactions that are coming in on coup. Biplab Kumar Deb, the Chief Minister of Tripura, expressed heartiest congratulations to the energetic and popular leader Yogi Adityanath for taking oath as the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh for a second time in a row. The Uttar Pradesh government shall continue to take Uttar Pradesh to new heights under the guidance of Prime Minister Modi. Nand Gopal Gupta Nandi also tweeted to say that this is a watershed moment. The craftsman of golden Uttar Pradesh respected Yogi Adityanath, hearty welcome and greetings on the arrival of Prime Minister at the swearing-in ceremony. So those are some of the political reactions coming in on coup. Alok, back to you for a quick word on, what this means in terms of the larger political narrative in Uttar Pradesh. It's been a fiercely fought election between the Samajwadi Party and the BJP, with the SP, of course, making significant gains in this election as well. And Akhilesh Yadav means business when he is taking on the BJP in Uttar Pradesh, because he's quit as MP and he's going to be, sitting in the Vidhan Sabha full time.
Well, yes, you're absolutely right. Akhilesh Yadav is going to sit in the UP Assembly. And this is something that will be a challenge for Mr. Adityanath and his government, because the Samajwadi Party may have lost the election, and they lost it by a big margin. Of course, they got 111 seats, as versus 255 that the BJP got. But nevertheless, they improved their performance. They doubled it. They were 47 in 2017. They more than doubled it, and they also increased their vote share. The fact that a Lok Sabha MP, their party chief, Akhilesh Yadav, has chosen to quit his Lok Sabha seat and to actually sit in the assembly is significant, not only for the 2024 Lok Sabha election, but also for the 2027 assembly election. There are 5 years to go, and Yogi Adityanath versus Akhilesh Yadav in that assembly is something that one looks forward to. The Adityanath government also has a lot of challenges, mind you. Yes, the grand ceremony is over. Yes, so many people have been sworn in. It was a big spectacle. Now they have to get down to the business of governing again, and there are many issues that came up during this election campaign that reverberated across the state. For instance, the issue of jobs. How many youth will get jobs? What are these claims about crores of jobs that Yogi Adityanath claims have been given? Are they true? Are they not true? Stray cattle, it was a big issue. Akhilesh Yadav made a big issue out of it. We went across the state and farmers were really upset and angry, so much so that the Prime Minister had to say that we'll find a solution. What solution are you going to find? The promise of free SOPs, electricity. Yogi Adityanath has promised 300 units, I think, or free electricity for irrigation for farmers after Akhilesh Yadav made that promise in his manifesto. So how will all of this be implemented? How will governance change for the better on the ground? I think is something that we need to watch out for as this government gets down to business.
All right.